Hi everybody, very happy to meet you for the second module in the paper, Early Childhood Care, Education and Development. I am Arokya Chelvi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Human Development of Avinashlingam University, Tamil Nadu. Today, let us look into the characteristics, needs and significance of various stages of child development. You very well know that child development is a field of study devoted to understanding all aspects of human growth and development right from conception through adolescence. However, human development is a field of study that includes all changes that a human being experiences throughout his or her lifespan. But the paper on early childhood care, education and development deals with only the first three stages of lifespan, namely prenatal period, infancy and babyhood, and early childhood. So the present module on the characteristics, needs and significance of children was formulated in a way that the first three stages of lifespan were discussed in detail for the early childhood educators to gain an insight of the basic requirements of children. And now, as the first section of the module would deal with the characteristics of the lifespan. Every stage of the lifespan is unique with the possession of certain common features. This section would deal with it. Let us look into the characteristics of the prenatal period now. The prenatal period that begins at conception and ends at birth is the shortest lifespan stage, but the most important of all. This period lasts for approximately 9 calendar months and is accompanied by 6 primary characteristics. Each of these features has got a tremendous lasting effect on the whole of the lifespan of a person. Let us see each of these characteristics in detail. First is, it's a time of hereditary endowment. Hereditary endowment serves as a foundation for development and is fixed for once for all at this stage. Though environmental differences both before and after birth accounts either for a favorable or unfavorable development to a certain extent, it should be well realized that these changes are only quantitative but not qualitative. Second characteristic is that it's a time for the hereditary potentials to develop. For the hereditary potentials to develop for the fetus, mother's body and mind should be favorable to foster it, as unfavorable conditions stunt their development potentials. Though these potentials are hereditary by nature, environmental influences it to a greater extent. The third is sex of the newly created individual is fixed. The sex of the newly created individual is a part of the hereditary endowment and hence the condition of the mother's body do not affect it. Fourth is, growth and development of a fetus is rapid. The fetus grows at a rapid rate when compared to any other period in the lifespan, as the individual grows from a pinhead-sized small cell to an infant measuring approximately 19 to 20 inches in length and 3.2 to 3.4 kg in weight. In other words, the weight of an individual increases 11 million times from conception to birth. Like growth, development is also rapid during the prenatal period. From a zygote, which is just a round-shaped cell, at the time of conception, the fetus gets its human body with all external and internal body features before birth. Fifth characteristic is that it's a time of hazards. The hazard is of both physical and psychological, and that pose a marked effect on the later development of the individual. Sixth is, it's a time when significant others of the to-be-born form attitudes. The attitudes that are developed among the significant others of the newly created individual define the way that the newborn is going to be treated in his or her early years. Then let us look into the characteristics of infancy and babyhood. the period after birth to 2 years is accepted to be a critical lifespan stage. However, 0 to 2 years has got two distinctive subdivisions, namely infancy and babyhood. As per Herlock, infancy begins with birth and ends within 2 weeks, which then gets extended up to 2 years as a period of babyhood. First is for infancy. There are 5 important characteristics of infancy by which it gets distinguished from babyhood. They are: it is the shortest period in the whole of the lifespan. As the period of infancy has to pass through a series of adjustments, 2 major criterion had to be set to identify the completion of infancy. First is physiological criteria. Infancy gets completed as and when the infant starts showing signs of developmental progress in the behavior. The second one is the psychological criteria. Infancy gets completed when the infant starts showing signs of developmental progress in the behavior. The second characteristic is that it's a time of radical adjustment. The period of infancy requires radical adjustment on the part of the just born to get adapted to the very new external environment. Some infants accomplish these adjustments with ease, while some others find it difficult and even sometimes fail to do so. The major adjustments to be made are towards temperature changes, breathing, sucking, swallowing, and eliminating. Third is that there is a plateau in development. The growth and development, which was rapid during the prenatal period, just come to a stop with birth. The newborn loses weight and becomes less strong. After a week or 2, the infant begins to improve. This plateau in growth and development helps the infant to make the radical adjustments. Fourth characteristic is that it gives a preview of later development. Though it is impossible to accurately predict the individual's future development with the development during infancy, the newborn's development provides cues for what to expect later. Fifth is, it's a period of hazards. Both physical and psychological hazards are common during this period. The physical hazards occur when an infant finds it so difficult in making the radical adjustment, and psychological hazards happen when the attitude of the significant others of the infant is different. Next is babyhood. Certain characteristics of babyhood, though seen in other stages of lifespan, they are of particular importance to this period. Some of the most important characteristics are: babyhood is said to be the true foundation age. The whole of childhood, though regarded as foundation age, the true foundation is laid during the babyhood, as many attitudes and patterns of emotional expression and social behaviors are established during this period. Now let us see the reasons of why the foundation laid at this stage is important. First reason is that the patterns that are established in early life, either good or bad, persist for the remaining life, as studies had indicated. The second reason is that as the correction in behavior could be easily made in young children, undesirable behaviors, if any, can be quickly erased off. The third reason is that the early foundation very soon develop into habits, which in turn influence a child's lifelong behavior. Fourth reason is learning by experience plays a major role in development. Hence, the experience provided to a young child can be controlled, directed to provide a positive influence. With this, the second characteristic, let us look into it. It is an age of rapid growth and change. As the growth becomes rapid, the changes in capacities also happen faster. Body proportion changes as the body parts other than the head start to grow at a great speed with an increase in height and weight. With the rapid physical change, the other domains like psychosocial and intellectual also undergo much change, though not apparent. The third characteristic of babyhood, it is that it's an age of decreasing dependency. The babies gradually increase their independency because of their rapid development and achievement of body control. The control over their bodies help them to sit, crawl, stand, walk and handle objects. Also, independency increases as they develop the ability to communicate their needs. Fourth characteristic is that it's an age of increased individuality. With increased independence, the baby establishes her individuality by understanding the interests and abilities. Towards the end of the babyhood, they no longer need the same food or the same sleep schedule. They want to be on their own, do things of their own interest and explore their abilities. Fifth is that it's a period of initiating social behavior. Through the behavior of attachment, every child is keen to become a part of the social group. First and foremost, they develop strong emotional tie with their mother, and when successful, they try to establish a warm relationship with others. Sixth is that it is an appealing age. Though not proportionate, the babies are always appealing with large heads, protruding abdomen, short limbs, tiny head and feet. Moreover, they are still more appealing because of their dependency. Seventh characteristic is that it marks the beginning of creativity. The babyhood period is a period of learning. Learning things at their own pace provides room for them to be creative or original. This later on lays a strong foundation for them to be more creative and conform to the societal patterns. Eighth characteristic is that it's a hazardous age. Some of the common hazards are illnesses, accidents, etc. However, if the foundation is not effective, then certain psychological hazards might occur. Last characteristic is that it marks the beginning of sex role typing. The sex identifying traditions followed from the moment the baby is born leads to sex role typing. The boy is being dressed in blue clothes and girls in pink, and the boy baby is being discouraged from crying as it is role typed with girls. Now let us look into the characteristics of early childhood. Certain characteristics that set the stage of early childhood apart from other stages are described to you now. First is, it's a problem age or troublesome age. Early childhood period is also called a problem age as referred in the babyhood period. But the difference is that much care has to be taken around the baby's physical care during babyhood and towards the manifestation of frequent behavior problems during early childhood. Young children are often obstinate, stubborn, disobedient, negativistic and antagonistic. Also, they have frequent temper tantrums, irrational fears during daytime and bad dreams at night. Second is that it's a less appealing age compared to babyhood. The child at this stage seems to be less appealing because of the troubles they cause and their resistant behavior. Third is that it's a toy age. As toy play reaches its peaks during early years, the child is found to be spending much of their time with toys and hence called toy age. And it is also called the preschool age. Educators address the early childhood period as a preschool age to just differentiate their physical and mental maturity to cope up with the expectations of formal schooling. Then it is also called the pre-gang age. This period is referred as pre-gang age as they learn foundations of social behavior and prepare themselves for a civilized social life. It is called as an exploratory age. As the children at this stage have increased curiosity to know about the things around them, how it works, how it feels, and how they can get involved or to be a part of it, they are referred to be explorative. And this period is also called the questioning age. As they start exploring the environment, they seek to clarify their doubts by asking questions and hence called questioning age, and they are also referred as walking question mark. The last characteristic is that early childhood period is referred as creative age. Play during early childhood helps the children to be more creative when compared to any other stages of lifespan. After looking into the characteristics, now it is time for us to look into the developmental task to be accomplished during this stage. Every person born in the universe is expected to learn and master certain survival skills and also acquire the patterns of approved behavior distinctive for every lifespan stages. These skills and behavior, when put together, is termed as developmental task. Havigast, who coined the term developmental task, define it as a task which arises at or about a certain period of lifetime of the individual, leading to either success or failure. Success is the successful accomplishment that leads to happiness and ease in accomplishing later tasks. Failure is the unsuccessful attempt leading to unhappiness and ease in accomplishing later tasks. The developmental task of every stage of lifespan arises due to three forces: physical maturation, cultural pressure, and personal values. Physical maturation. As and when an individual matures physically, they have the potential to develop and master certain skills and behavior. The second is the cultural pressures of the society. When the society pressurizes the individual to do certain things, he or she gets acquainted with certain skills. Example, learning to read. The third is personal values and aspirations. Once an individual starts to develop an identity, he or she will have his or her values and aspirations, which in turn motivate them to develop certain skills. However, most of the developmental tasks at every stage of lifespan arise as all these three forces work together. Now let us discuss about the importance of developmental tasks. First importance is that they serve as the guideline for the parents and teachers of what to expect from a child at a particular age. Second is that these tasks serving as a motivating force for the child to understand what the society in general and the parents in particular expect from them. The third is that the task inform parents of what to expect from their child during the immediate or distant future and facilitate them in preparing their children to accomplish future tasks. Now the following are the developmental tasks to be accomplished from birth to preschool stage put together. First is learning to walk, learning to take solid food, learning to talk, learning to control the elimination of body waste, learning sex differences and sexual modesty, achieving physiological stability, forming simple concepts of social and physical reality, learning to relate oneself emotionally to parents, siblings, and others, and the last, learning to distinguish right and wrong and develop conscience. Now, what will happen if there is a failure in mastering developmental tasks? Not every child born do accomplish the above said developmental tasks. The failure in doing so gives rise to serious consequences. They are: the child feels inferior and hence feels unhappy. The child faces social disapproval accompanied by rejection. The child faces difficulty in accomplishing future tasks. What are the factors that influences the mastery over these tasks? First one is the above average intelligence, aided with augmented physical development and increased energy for age, the environment with enriched experiences, effective guidance from parents and teachers, strong motivation, and enhanced creativity on the side of the infants. Now, after looking into the developmental task, it's time for us to look into what are the needs of children at this age. Every human being has human needs, but children do have additional needs, characteristics of their age and the context. Hence, it becomes a profound responsibility of parents and caretakers, especially preschool educators, to cater the basic and developmental needs of children. This section of the module briefs the basic and developmental needs of children and provides a better understanding of how to respond to children's needs. First, into the basic needs of children. There are three basic needs of any human beings. That's the same for the children too. First is food and shelter. Children differ from adults as they cannot get their food or acquire a reasonable shelter. Hence, it's a responsibility of the parents to provide food and shelter for their living. Second is physical safety. children become vulnerable and cannot protect themselves from any physical harm caused by a stronger child or an aggressive adult. This vulnerability necessitates help from parents and caretakers to keep themselves away from harm. The third most important physical need is emotional security. The third basic need serves as an important need as the minds of the children are still in the formative and developing stage. They need emotional support from their parents and caretakers to face any strange situations that might distress them. And on to the developmental needs. First developmental need is social skills. This skill is very much needed to live and work with others. To live and work with others, they should develop the listening and communication skill. Also, being aware of the social norms and regulations becomes very important. Also, they need to persuade and change minds themselves and also the others. Second is career abilities. Even if as a child they need to learn all kinds of skills at school, referred to as school skills, and at the community level to become an effective adult. It is also well realized that learning all type of career skills is not possible, for which the child should constantly be exploring to discover his talents and the factors that motivate the same. And the third is internal skills. Internal skills are very, very much essential because it includes self-confidence and emotional maturity. The experiences or opportunities provided to them should enrich them in gaining those skills, as these help them to be happy by coming up with difficulties in life. So, after knowing the needs of children, it's now becoming important to understand how to respond to these needs as an educator or as a facilitator. To respond to children's needs, the parents and caretakers should first understand the basic development milestones to be accomplished by children specific to their age. The following subheads, as per the lifespan of 0 to 6 years, talk about the milestones and the strategies to respond to the needs of the children. On to the first year of life, you have to understand that the milestones to be accomplished is attachment, communication, cooperation, and punishment. So the strategies are breastfeeding the baby exclusively for 6 months and continue up to a year. The child becomes more emotionally attached and develop long-term intellectual benefits. Second way of responding is that being warm, responsive, and sensitive to the children's needs that help them to develop positive attachment and relationship. Though crying is the first stage of communication, the parent should understand that the healthy babies rarely cry, and moreover, the length of the time and the intensity of the crying diminishes by 3 months of age. And the fourth strategy is that the parent need to learn how to respond sensitively to their child's temperament and adjust to the baby's signals. Then, sharing toys with others, interest in the other children and adults also develop by the end of the first year, wherein the caretaker has to look into it. Second, let us look into the 1 to 3 years of lifespan, wherein the milestones to be accomplished are independency, language development, self-awareness, control, begin making friends, and enhances curiosity and creativity. The strategies employed are building a bond that lasts a lifetime, impose rules and regulations to protect the child but see that they are realistic, to provide opportunities to express emotions verbally instead of having tantrums, and to negotiate instead of making demands. Repeated words, identifying objects, asking questions frequently, reading, and language department is another way of fostering it. And on to the 3 to 6 years, the milestones become more verbal, enhanced imagination, empathy, form friends group, cooperate to reach goals. The strategies to be employed to reach these milestones is to provide opportunities for uninstructed play, as this type of play helps children to imitate adults, improve motor skills, build confidence, develop creativity, and learn to cooperate with others. The second strategy is to provide children opportunities to learn to guide their play by exposing them to long, interrupted periods, say 45 to 60 minutes per day for pre-play. Third is sow the seeds of friendship by providing opportunities to socialize, improve their communication skills, take charge of their own emotions, and to control it. Then the last strategy is that do not try to solve every problem of the child. Instead, mediate them. To sum up, hope this module had introduced to the infancy and toddlerhood and early childhood stage of lifespan with insights of the unique feature about every stage. Moreover, the developmental task of 0 to 6 years has been listed to facilitate you in recognizing the seriousness of not mastering the task as the society expects them to be mastered. Also, the needs of the children specified to describe of how the parents or caretakers can respond and influence the holistic development of children. And bye for now, and hope to meet you for the next module on brain development.